to Aftermath, one of my favorite things all week. I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. I'm a little hopped up. I'm a little bit excited, which is great because the chapters are really more kind of like housekeeping chapters than they are like super intense chapters, but that's alright. We're still gonna have plenty to talk about. I'm really excited to get into this. I guess really I'm excited because I kind of went through and looked at what we have left of the book, and it's basically this week and like 2 more weeks and we'll be done with the book, and I'm excited. I'm excited to finish the book. I'm excited to move on to Life Debt. I'm excited like that this has been going. So really just in general, I'm excited if you haven't picked up on that. If you have no idea why I'm excited, I highly recommend clicking on the thing. It'll take you back to the series, but basically we're doing a read-through of Chuck Wendig's Aftermath trilogy, a couple of chapters at a time, and really looking at the themes in the book and what they mean for the book itself and the Star Wars galaxy at large and the new canon beyond even that. But with that, today we're going to discuss chapters 30, 31, the 13th interlude that takes place on Tatooine, and then 32. So let's get right into it. Chapter 30 is just kind of a short little doodly bop. Basically, we get that Akbar has received Wedge's message. That Wedge successfully got a message out to the New Republic. The New Republic now knows that there's just stuff going on Akiva, and they gotta get over there, and they gotta get the job done, and so basically there's hope. We get hope. This chapter gives us some hope. We also see Sloane. So what I like so often in these chapters is within a chapter you'll get a lot of kind of seeing both sides of things, a little bit of juxtaposition going on. So we have Akbar, and he's all pumped because he knows he needs to get the fleet to Akiva, and then we see Sloane, arguably the counterpart to Akbar, who's like, yay, everything's falling apart. So basically she's like hanging out with Ada, her aide, Ada the aide, who's like hobbling around because Wedge hurt her foot or something. And she basically has Crassus, who's like, maybe we can buy our way out of this, and Shale, who's like, we should just give up, and Dandelion Guy, who's like, you suck, I should be in charge. And then you have Tashu, who's all like, prophecy, and then there's just Sloane, who's like, I'm just gonna go insane if I don't get out of here right now. And then, out of nowhere, she gets a mysterious phone call from gangster Narat Sarat, the guy who Timon owes stuff from, the guy that Timon stole all the identity stuff that we learned about in the last couple chapters from. And then we get on to chapter 31. Chapter 31 is, of course, about the Aftermath crew, and where we last left them, they were under attack by a haunted droid factory, and it is not, in fact, a droid factory, like a zombie droid factory that gets up and hobbles around on its foundations, nor is it actually haunted droids. It is, in fact, a group of semi-feral people who live underground and have covered themselves in droid parts. What were they called? They were called Ugteen. Ugteen, that's what they were called. So the Ugteen, the semi-feral people who wear droid parts, are chasing them, and it's pretty intense. Basically, they get away because they had that crate of thermal detonators that they were going to use to, like, bust into the palace, and instead Timon sets it up where he, like, blows up the crate of thermal detonators, which gets rid of the Ugteen, successfully does that, but then they're like, well, what are we going to do because we can't get in anywhere? But what I really like about this is it's Timon coming up with a really good idea, kind of coming through for the team, and he's really kind of defying that he's just a kid stereotype. Like, you can tell he's a smart cookie, that he really takes after his parents, and so it's really nice kind of seeing him step up rather than just being like the angsty kid who's just there to add a cute face, and instead he's like, he's fighting even more than Nora ever does, that's for sure. Then they figure out that they now can't get in the palace because Timon blew up all the thermal detonators, but Singer comes up with a plan, and Singer is currently in an Imperial uniform. He is going to go to the surface and go up to the Imperials and be like, hey, I'm an Imperial that's just been hanging out, and we can go into these tunnels and get out, and basically get the Empire to open the doors to the palace underneath, as opposed to them breaking in. So where this gets intense is whether or not we trust Singer. Is Singer going to turn coat back to the Imperials once he goes to join the Imperials? And it becomes a very intense moment of trust within the group, because up until this point, it's been this kind of thing of like, can we trust this former Imperial who really has no reason to be with these rebels other than the rebels can get him off world. Another kind of good Timon moment here is after he's thrown the detonators, there's a big explosion, Timon gets kind of knocked over by fourth wave, he's fine, but he was briefly knocked out, and he kind of wakes up, he's covered in dust, and his mom is so excited that he's alive that she, kisses him on the forehead. And Timon has this mental note of like, oh, that's what a mom does. A mom kisses me even though I'm dirty. And he kind of has this intense kind of child parenthood moment. And we kind of see, it's another moment too where Timon is slowly starting to forgive and kind of slowly coming back to where we can have a family again. And whether or not that's going to stick or not, we're going to see. But Timon's kind of going through a lot of his heart grew 3 sizes that day kind of stuff in this story so far. But then we get to Interlude 13 on Tatooine, and as always, I'm always most excited about the interludes. First of all, this interlude was great because it has Jawas. I love Jawas. Jawas are my favorite. They're my favorite species. They're my favorite everything. I love Jawas. Jawas are the absolute best, and everything should have more Jawas in it, including the things that already have Jawas. They should just add more Jawas. Anyway, I was excited about that because of that. But basically, you have this kind of off-world guy. He's from a mining corporation. He's gonna come in. He's trying to trade with the Jawas, and then there's a local guy who's there, and he can tell that the guy's an off-worlder because he doesn't know how to bargain with Jawas, because with Jawas you have to you have to buy their cheap stuff. Eventually they let you buy the expensive stuff, but he's like, don't worry buddy, I've just met, I'll use my rapport to let you get in good with the Jawas, which is kind of interesting. So this guy's name is Cobb, and Cobb starts talking to this miner. He talks about how, we're a year after Return of the Jedi, and there's still a lot of different kind of powers vying for supremacy in the crime vacuum that is Tatooine with Jabba gone. And basically we find out that this Cobb guy has figured out that this guy isn't really with a mining corporation, that the mining corporation is a front for another kind of gang, and they want to come over and they want to take over. So the off-worlder opens up this crate and he finds a set of Mandalorian armor, and he's all like, this is pretty cool. And Cobb's like, actually, because I know you're just a crime guy, I'm gonna shoot you and then take the armor because now I'm the self-appointed lawman sheriff of Tatooine. So this kind of shows, the bringing the law to the lawless galaxy is kind of coming from within. It's this self-done idea. There is kind of a shoot first, talk later reference in this chapter, of course, or this interlude, of course, because you can't have a shootout without a reference to who shoots first. But there's a lot of different things. First of all, there's a guy in Mandalorian armor who likes to shoot people. This is kind of one of the low-tier theories on who the Mandalorian might be in Jon Favreau's Mandalorian TV show. I'm not sure I really think it's going to be this guy, but it's certainly the type of thing that'd be really cool if the main character from that show is this guy. I just don't think it's going to be that, because this guy Cobb isn't a real Mandalorian, and I do think the guy in the series is going to be a real Mandalorian, but it is, in the web of conspiracy theories, it's a fun thing to think about. And just in general, anytime we get anybody wearing Mandalorian armor, it's pretty cool. This is kind of one of those stories that really show that what's going on in the galaxy is so much more than Republic worlds or Imperial worlds, that we're seeing this in Hutt space, and we're seeing this in kind of the neutral worlds too, that what happened at the end of Return of the Jedi was so much larger than just a Death Star, and that there's these galactic waves of consequences from our heroes from the original trilogy. And then we get back to the main story. We're on chapter 32. Member of the Aftermath crew, who's not currently in the Aftermath crew, John Burrell, the Special Forces unit, has gotten to his turret, and he's fought off the stormtroopers, and he wants to take this turret over so he can shoot ships. I'm not really sure what his plan is. I'm not sure he really knows what his plan is, but his plan is to just get in this turret. Anyway, the last thing between him and this turret is this Imperial kid, and this kid has him at gunpoint, and he's trying to talk to him like, dude, I get it, you have to do your Imperial thing, but let's be honest, regardless of what happens between you and me, the Empire is dead, the rebels are coming, if you want to just go, there's no one to stop you. And the kid actually almost puts his gun down and actually almost lets Jom take over the turret, except for what Jom says is the kid realizes that he's more afraid of his superiors who are on this planet than the rebels who are going to ultimately win this war. And so this kind of goes back to the theme we've seen throughout the novel of people who are fighting for different reasons that they're fighting, that it's not always good or evil. And sometimes it's just a bunch of confused kids not knowing what to do with their lives. That's really it. Like I said, I usually try to have kind of like a more focused theme from the bunches of chapters that we get, but this one, like I said, was just kind of more like plot housekeeping. They're trying to get some stuff into order, put all the chess pieces into place for the final act of the story. So that's actually just really exciting that we've gotten to that point. So that's really what I have for this week. For next week, we're going to do chapter 33, 34, and then an interlude on Cloud City. So that's 2 chapters and an interlude. It's actually kind of hefty number of pages compared to what I usually like to read, but it's a nice convenient set. Well, actually, I lied at the beginning of the video. It's 2 weeks after this set. So I guess it's 3 weeks. That's 3 weeks. Whatever. I said 2 at the beginning of the video. I'm sorry, it's 3, and I'm really excited. Either way, we're really close. That's really my point, is we're really close. And I'm just too excited to math that out properly. I really hope you guys have been enjoying the series. Again, it means a lot to me that I've been talking to so many of you consistently video to video. Please leave me a comment on what you think so far. Let me know where you think things are going to go. If you're not already, please follow us on Twitter at Port Haven Forums and visit port-haven.com for even more. And I will talk to you next week.